it's Ashley, your scrappy nerd, and I'm back today with a layout for Scraplift Crafternoon, as where a bunch of my crafty peeps and I get together and we scraplift an amazing layout from an amazing creator. And this week we are scraplifting Julia from Scraps by Jules, and you saw her layout at the top of the video, and it was just adorable, and I love it. And so today I couldn't really decide everything that I wanted to put on the layout. I do end up putting everything on the layout, it feels like. But so you could see here, I just pulled out a bunch of things from my stash that were dog related. I pulled out some puffy dogs with googly eyes. And then I also pulled out some graduation ephemera that I had in my stash. And I am using the Simple Stories Take Note collection, and I pulled in a bunch of papers that had the tags and the cut aparts, as well as the sticker sheet, the ephemera bits, I think the floral ones, and then just the regular ephemera bits. And then I did pull in a couple stencils, the Tim Holtz stencil, and then this fireworks stencil. And I was gonna put some fireworks also, but I ended up just using the Tim Holtz stencil. And I will use black soot distress ink as my my ink that I put through the stencil. I think that's everything I pulled out. I pulled out so much. I am scrapbooking a picture of my newest puppy, and she graduated her beginner training class, and so that's what we're scrapbooking. So I really liked the Simple Stories Take Note collection, but then I wanted to put in some dog ephemera and then some graduation ephemera, and so I went through everything and just pulled it all out. And in the end, this layout definitely is one of those where I pack everything on it, and you may or may not like it. But I pulled in this kind of ruled background paper because Jules had that kind of style for her layout, for the inspiration layout. But I wanted to back it because I didn't like the top part. I cut that off. It said like instructor date, where you could fill it out, but I didn't like that. So I cut that off, and then I used this black polka dot paper to kind of mat the layout, and it makes it so that it's not the same width on all sides of the paper, which I kind of like. It kind of changes it up a little bit, so you see a little bit more of the black and white polka dot paper. And here I am just gutting it because I thought I was going to back my photos with this paper, but I end up not doing that. And but it'll just go in with the collection, and I'll use it for something else. At least it's not a little tiny piece of scrap. It's actually a decent size paper, and I'm not crazy for saving that one. But I distressed the edge of this paper that is my main paper, and I had planned to distress everything, but some things got distressed and some things didn't in the end. But in Julia's layout, she had some mixed media kind of in the top right and the bottom left, or the bottom middle. And I will only do some mixed media in the top right. And so I pulled in this Tim Holtz stencil here, and I liked it because it was kind of like stars, but not really stars, but it's just kind of a fun pattern. And I only put it in the top right, like I said, and I created just kind of a little cluster like she did, so that you can see it behind the ephemera. And I actually didn't cover too much of this top section up, so you actually see this ephemera or this mixed media on my layout. But I do like how it turned out, and I tried to get it really dark in the middle, and then it kind of fades on the sides of it. But I really wanted you to be able to see the pattern through the stencil. And like I said, I'm using black soot distress ink for this. And you can see that I'm really just getting it through that stencil, and I like how that looked. And I had debated about putting it on the bottom like she had in her layout, but I didn't want to put it over the flowers that were in the bottom there. And so here I am just trimming up my photos. I printed them with a white border already around them. This one is a picture of her her diploma. And so I had thought about scrapbooking the actual diploma, but we have it on our fridge because we're like, the actual parents put things that their kids do or accomplish on their fridge. So we do that with our dogs as well. So her graduation certificate is on our fridge, so I decided just to take a picture of it and scrapbook it. And then these are the 2 photos of her with her little graduation hat on. And I just love them both. The one on the right, she's sitting so pretty because she learned how to sit. This is her beginner class. And then the one on the left just looks like she's smiling. And you can see the little tiny graduation hat perfectly on her head. And so I wanted to do both of them. So I decided to put it on the same 4x6 picture and then just have both of them there with the white border around each of them. And so I got that. It kind of helps to get all the photos on one layout. And I kind of mess around with how I wanted to lay them out. I couldn't decide because the inspiration was a vertical photo and I had 2 horizontal ones. So I kind of shifted them around a lot, you saw, and I settled on them being on top of each other, which made it kind of like a vertical photo like she had. And so I then started to take the cut aparts that look like little frames, and I was cutting them apart and creating the frames behind this photo, again, much like the inspiration layout. And this is where I decided I wanted to go with the turquoise color to back the photos instead of the black. I thought the turquoise would kind of not take away from the photos, and it would help kind of blend all of my elements together. And then I just have the touch of black within the elements and not just a huge black kind of square in the middle of the layout. And I had meant to leave more of the blue background here around my photos so I could distress it, but I forgot. And so then I don't distress the photo. And I had meant to distress the map, but I didn't. And so I'm putting all of these cut aparts around so that it mimics the frames like Julia had. And while I'm kind of doing that, make sure that you check out the description box where it'll have all of her information. You can go over, she's Scraps by Jules, so you can go and give her some likes and some loves and see the amazing layouts that she does. They're all beautiful. And this one was just easy to scraplift because it was just gorgeous. So I have this little cut apart that says "You're so possum," and I thought, well, that's perfect for this. And it has that little gray dog on there, but then I have these puffy dog stickers that have googly eyes in my stash, and I have no idea where they came from, and I just love them. And so I was like, no, this is the perfect layout to use them on. I've had them forever. And I pulled in some little glittery graduation hats that I had, and I put them on the dog so it looks like the little dogs are graduating. And I just cut off the tassels because the tassels hung in their eyes and I didn't think that looked very good. And she doesn't have a tassel on her graduation hat, so I put all these caps on these dogs, and I just love it. I think it turned out really cute. But then this dog that's on this little cut apart, I thought wasn't the same, and so I took it off and I was like, oh, I'm not going to use that. But I really liked that it said "You're so possum," so I put it back on, and then I'm just going to cover up that dog because I think that dog is just so different from these kind of cartoony dogs that it didn't look right leaving that one on there. So I used one of the floral ephemeras from the Take Note collection and just covered up the dog that was on that cut apart, and then that way I got to keep the "You're so possum," and I could use these dogs with these googly eyes. I just love them. And I put the 2 on either side of her certificate here, and then I pull in a little tiny one, and I'll put one in the top cluster as well. And so that's why I think that the other dog just didn't go with these ones. But you can see that I'm starting to put all my ephemera on. And like I said, this is one of those layouts that I just love doing, where I put everything and anything on the layout. And so you either like it or you hate it. And, you know, I just love it. And I just started to build the cluster on the top right that I got from the inspiration layout. And I will put another dog and cap up there, a little camera. And I will, in the end, put that word smile up there. And that just kind of creates that little cluster on the mixed media, but you can still see the mixed media. And I put a banner in the top left, and I pulled in some of those dog paws that I had, and those ones were the Paper Studio, so those came from Hobby Lobby. And I will create a little, put little paws in the bottom right as well. But while I'm piling all the goodies on my layout, also make sure that you check out the description box for all of my crafty peeps that are hopping along for Scraplift Crafternoon, and see how they interpreted Julia's layout. I keep wanting to call her Jules because she scraps by Jules. Her name's Julia. But see how they interpreted her layout. And all of their links are going to be below, so you can hop along and give them love and likes and subscribe to all of them, as well as just click the playlist, and you can sit back and enjoy watching all of the layouts that are on the list. And I also want to say thank you to everyone that has subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate it. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit those buttons, and go ahead and hit the likes and leave comments. I will get back to you as soon as I can. I love your comments. And I'm just finishing up. I put some hearts around there. I did have some of the gray circles there that were in my stash, and it says grad, so I put it up there in that top cluster, so it says smile grad. And one at the bottom says play, learn, and grow. And I just was creating that cluster around that cut apart to just make sure you couldn't see the dog that was hiding behind the flower. And it says enjoy today. And then I really liked on her layout that she had, it looked like the clipboard, and then she had the string coming out of it. And I had thought I was going to do the little string, but I had these dog brads, and so I put the paw brad through the hole of that clipboard part. And so I got to use one of those brads. I think I used something of everything that I brought out, except for I had brought in some words from the Paper Studio as well. And I thought in the background I was going to put have sit and stay, because that's what she's learning. But by the end, my layout was packed enough. I didn't think I needed a bunch of words in the background. But that's going to be it, guys. Thank you again to everyone who has tuned in. Make sure you visit all the links below. And everyone have a great day. Bye.